Oh, we are live really quickly. Okay, today the internet is working, folks. Bright and clear, green lights all the way here. So welcome to our coffee break insights with Lionel and Marianne. This is our spontaneous one for the week. We have a scheduled one on Fridays at 1 p.m. If I'm not screwing up the time again because I'm doing this. The brain is resetting. Right? Yes, right. So just a little quick disclaimer first before we start is today is April 20th, 2021, and we are not licensed doctors or therapists or in any ways, and we are just presenting our views and our opinions. This content is protected by copyright, and you may not use it in any shape or form without our written permission. So the technicalities out of the way. All right, what do you have for us today, Lionel?
Right, so hi everyone. So today I'm going to, last time Marianne opened the space, so now I'm going to open the space with a topic for the insights today. And before we get started, let's just connect in here. And if you're watching this, just close your eyes. Just take a deep breath. Hold your breath in. Yeah, and just release. And just come into your center, core, your core, just deep inside your center. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just focus on your body just for a moment. And focus on your place, your positioning here in your body and your surroundings. Just pay attention to some senses of taste, anything you're touching, sitting on, sensing, feeling. Yeah. It's really dropping in.
Yeah, very nice. We have a little hello from Rinky and hello from London from Diana.
Very nice. Welcome. Yeah. So today, as we just go into the topic for the day, I wanted to talk a little bit with Marianne about some of the signs and symptoms of control. I know last time we talked quite about this control patterning and how it kind of plays out at a group level, but there's also this personal level stuff that we encounter. And often when and this is something I notice, so I found it really interesting to talk about this. It's often when we get symptoms like fatigue or heaviness, confusion, disorientation, and resistance, we then associate, we think that we need rest in those moments because we're fatigued, so we need rest, and we need to then kind of close down and go, just be with ourselves and all of that. That's actually not the deeper truth of what's going on in that moment. There's actually, we're not physically fatigued in that moment, although it may feel that way, but it's actually, from my perspective, it's an ego-mind pattern. Like it's a defensive strategy that prevents us from actually the breakthrough that's happening in that moment. And when we do enter that higher state of being, we actually get nourished at that level. And Marianne actually showed me that in the moment a couple of times when we were connecting together. And it was, it's quite interesting. And I've experienced it before, but it often finds really sneaky strategies, right, to try and keep us out of breaking through that pattern, which is why it's a control pattern. It's so important to talk about this because it prevents you basically from awakening to a higher level. And it's a protection mechanism. So within the pattern, it's really preventing us to really drop in and feel what we're perhaps uncomfortable with in that moment. And that's part of the breakthrough that often for me is like when I open up to that and then all of a sudden I reach that higher level and it's all clear and I feel fine and refreshed and energized. So that's the piece that I wanted to mention about this. And there may be other symptoms and signs and things. So I'm going to take it back to you, Marianne, and just ask you if you want anything to add or anything, your take on this, basically.
Yeah. So and people are welcome to put little questions in the
Yep.
chat there, and we can try to get to them as best as we can. But yeah, it's a really interesting. Hi, Catherine. Welcome back.
Catherine.
Welcome home. It's a really interesting piece, and so it can be really feel confusing and feel complicated, because it's like, well, sometimes confusion is because we are in the process of reset. We've shifted out of an identity, a way of being, a way of seeing things, and then we're kind of going through this confusion piece because we're the references we're used to going back to to make a decision to see things a certain way is not there. And so it's like, so there's confusion. It's all of a sudden you're expecting something, and then it's like you're expecting a sunny day, and all of a sudden you look out and it's pouring rain, it's gray, it's dark, it's pouring rain, it's freezing cold, and you're like, there's that moment of kind of going, what is going on? So it can be part of a reset, but it also it can be a control pattern. So confusion, getting into that place where, because that was a way you were controlled. That was a way that maybe when you were growing up, your parents had a way of saying something, and that kind of gets into gaslighting, for example, of somebody saying something to you, and, well, gosh, that made sense to you, what you were saying, and that really felt right, and somebody's saying something different than you, and so that confusion sets in. Mm-hmm. So there's a confusion filter in the system, in your system, in your brain. And sometimes I've seen that literally. It's like this film that's over the brain, that covers the brain. And then you remove that, and that helps the person to be able to see more clearly. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah. So
the confusing thing is that the confusion has a different source depending on where it's coming from, right? It can be a control pattern, but if we've lost our old reference points, we're recalibrating, and then it's not a control pattern per se. So it's going to make it extra confusing.
Yeah, and all these things, and the tiredness also. So I think what Lionel was bringing it, why he was bringing it up, is because that became real evident for him that it was a control pattern in his case, in this particular situation.
Yeah.
So it brings up the question of, how do you know? How do you tell? What do you do to understand? Is it control, or is it an old pattern, or is it something that I need to go through because my system is resetting?
Yeah.
So the first thing is, when you start to notice something, when you're becoming aware of something, means that you're not in automatic mode anymore. Mm-hmm. In automatic mode, for example, I think we've probably all gone through this. You're driving from your home to the store that you always go to, and you leave the house, and before you know it, you're at the store, and you're like, okay, how did I just get here? Kind of feeling, because all this stuff going on. So that's that automatic mode where things are just happening. So when you start noticing, that's the start of kind of this opening of this awareness, and go with it. Just pay attention to what you're noticing. It's like, okay, I'm noticing I'm kind of feeling tired. Where's that coming from? You might not get an answer right away. For myself, because it's harder when you're working on yourself for different reasons. But for myself, what I find is, like, when I'm looking for my personal answer, it's like, why am I doing this? Why is this coming up? In the moment, it often doesn't come up because my mind is engaged. My mind is looking for that answer. And so it's not going to come in. It's going to wait till my mind is like focused on something else. And then boom, the answer will pop up.
Yeah.
But and another hello from Chapala, Jalisco, Mexico. Giselle, hello. Buenos dias, Giselle. So So that's the key. It's like you notice that, give yourself that moment to just kind of pause and notice what you're noticing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm noticing I'm feeling disoriented or I'm feeling tired. Next question. Hi from Germany. Yes. Next question is there, I kind of go, is there a reason for me to feel tired? The tendency is to automatically go, well, I haven't slept very much. I haven't done this, I've been busy all day. But are those really valid reasons? Like, does it come up every time you've been busy all day and you've had a long day, you haven't slept really? Are you always tired when this comes up? And I find that usually, so now I'm starting to get, a little smarter with myself on that one. It's like, okay, I think it's, I didn't eat something well last night, but wait, but I know. Now I'm starting to notice, it's like I started asking myself more questions. Ask yourself more questions. Key. We never ask enough questions, right, Lionel?
Right, exactly. And so one of the other points that I can add here is when the underpinning is resistance, when we start to feel resistance to something that's happening in the moment and we get tired and we think, oh, I don't need, I just need rest or something. That's the symptom of a control issue. That's the one I have a lot. So it's like, when I really don't want to go through something and the fatigue kind of comes out of nowhere, but it really feels as if it's a tiredness that makes me feel like, oh, it must be, like you said, because I didn't sleep well, and oh yeah, the last few days have been heavy and there's been a lot of stuff going on, so I'm tired. But it's actually the resistance. It's coming from resistance. So that's the control pattern. So that's just another way to look at it from my perspective, and the other way. But you were bring up some good points. So any other ones before we? You guys can ask some questions here. So
yes,
if you have any, or you don't have any control patterns.
Right. Catherine is saying, you must be reading me. LOL. Yes. Well, I think we're probably reading everyone, including ourselves. Asking questions. So, like I've said this over and over again. I've said this when I was teaching people Reiki. I was telling this when I was helping people kind of work with their intuition. It's like, we never ask enough questions. There's this automatic assumption that gets made that with just about everything we do, especially as we get older and past the age of 7 maybe. But ask the questions like, okay, what is it that I'm feeling? And go through emotional, mental, physical. What is it that you're feeling? What's coming up? What is it that you're noticing? Is there a reason for me to feel this way? Like a valid reason, like I said, I haven't slept enough, sleep deprived, working too hard, jet lag maybe, and just keep going down the line. It's like well, I'm feeling well, does this always happen to me? It's like, well, no, sometimes no, and sometimes I'm fine. When in the past has this come up before? Have I felt this before? And that can be a really interesting question to ask, because all of a sudden it's like it triggers a memory. It's like, oh yeah, when the cousins come over to visit and I really don't like being around them. It's like, oh yeah, and I really don't want to spend time with it. It's like, and then I just want to pull back. So
that's when the resistance kicks in, and that's when the fatigue, and it's tired, and
right. And then it's like when that comes in, it's like, oh, okay. And in that moment, saying, it's like, okay, well, maybe my body's fatigued, but you can go in different directions. Like, I don't care. It's this isn't me. And second line, this isn't me. So what is you? Okay. This is crucial. And I think a lot of people are not that aware of that, because they go into their intuition, they go into intuitive insights, and that's really good. But then you have to come into the present moment. And even my earlier the person that I studied with, Laura Day, that was her thing. One person, one body. And when you do readings, you always come back to yourself. So when you notice that, when you become aware of a symptom or something, come into your body, be really, get it anchored into your body. Physically. Sometimes I even like touch myself, my body, to really, because that physical contact with physical contact helps to anchor it in even more, especially for those who are more attuned energetically and are more connected at that energetic level, to just really come into your body. Notice what you're sitting on. Notice, how does your hand feel? How does your arm feel? How move around, just feel you're just like, and really anchor in and come into physical body. And then you can start having a sense of, oh, wait, I'm not feeling that tired after all.
Mm-hmm.
Or you might see some things, you might feel some things and say, okay, that's something I'm feeling. That's not me. Okay,
Yeah.
key, that's not me. This is me. This thing here is me. My body is me. Present moment, physical identity, physical person, physical body, right here, right now, in this space.
Yeah, here I would add, and that's really beautiful, because those spatial references are very important to bring that awareness to the present moment. But and I'd like to add to that is it really is about holding space, holding your own space there. That's the underlying practice. Because if these control patterns, if they are control patterns and they're getting really strong, and they really have a strong pull to them, it can really go even a step further to have to say no to engaging with the pattern that's pulling you into those symptoms of feeling tired and all the rest of it. So like the first step would be then to feel those spatial reference points and to really become aware of your senses and your body and all of that. But then also to notice it's pulling me in, and I'm trying, and I want to engage with it to do something with it. And that would be like a higher level practice to really notice, like, I'm not gonna engage with it at all, and I'm just going to observe and stay present and hold my own space. Because that's when the pattern begins to separate from you over time. And it may take a number of times before you actually do separate from it fully, because it comes out in layers, right? But that's kind of the practice. So I'd like to add that piece to it as well for you guys.
Yeah, very nice piece. And just a last little explanation, because you'll understand why it's so difficult for you to do this for yourself. And it's a hell of a lot easier when you have a session and somebody points that out and you're going, oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when you're working with yourself, is that you have to put yourself in two positions: the position of the observer and the position of the person going through it.
Yeah.
So asking yourself the questions, even write down a list of questions that you pull out. It's like, okay, let me just go through the gamut here and ask myself the questions that can really help you to move through it. And having the questions there and asking yourself, then that helps to put yourself in that observer while you are in the experiencer. So that's the catch here. It makes it a little bit more challenging, a little bit more effort to notice it for yourself. But anyway,
really important point.
Yeah. So so this is Marianne and Lionel, and so we do sessions. We work with people, and if you want to get in touch for us about anything, about our work or about having a session with us, there's our emails up on the screen there to reach out to you and to reach out to us. And we'll be back on Friday. Tomorrow, we are having one of our participants of our Pure Life Awakening intensive come and share her experience. So if you'd like to join us for that, it's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm saying that real slowly because my brain has not been saying things correctly lately with the time.
I think it is 1 p.m.
And right here on Facebook and YouTube Live. So I hope you will join us for that. And there's always the replay also. So thanks for stopping by. There's your coffee break. Now back to work. No. enjoy your day, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for being here, everyone. See you tomorrow or next time.
And one last comment from Rinky. I realize that it comes to me later than in the moment to ask questions. Yeah, and so, okay, good point. Just a quick answer to that one is that when that happens, just kind of think back to when it was happening and ask the question. So just because it's over, it doesn't mean it's too late and you won't get the answer. Ask it anyways. And Kayla, yes, thank you, Kayla. And thank you, everybody, for showing up. See you soon.